Thanks for joining us on Life Songs. And via Zoom, we've got Ann Wilson with us. Ann, welcome to Life Songs.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
And we're so glad that you have answered God's call in your life and delved into creating music. Your song, My Jesus, is just absolutely awesome and exceptional. It's hard to believe that you were going to be an astronaut instead of a singer.
Yeah, I know. It's really crazy.
As you've gotten into this new world of Christian music, what are some unexpected joys that you've kind of stumbled into while pursuing a whole new career?
Yeah, one of the very surprising things is so because I didn't grow up wanting to do music, when I got into the industry and I started writing songs and stuff, I didn't really know if I was going to like that process of it. But one of my favorite things has been getting to work on the production of songs. I love writing songs, but my favorite moments are when we finish a song and we start to record it, and I'm able to meet with the producer and figure out sounds and add banjos and Kentucky sounds and all these country things into the songs. And I have to say that was like my favorite part of releasing My Jesus and the other two songs and getting to work on the production side of things with the producer, because I didn't know that I was going to really like that or not. I had no idea if that's what I was going to enjoy. And so that's probably my most unexpected joy in this beginning stage. It's been amazing.
That's so cool. Do you find yourself wanting to put in like background sounds like tree frogs off in the distance, or like had to make it more folksy? What instrument do you think this song needs more mandolin? Like what is it
Oh
that you
man.
definitely lean towards?
So because I'm from Kentucky, I love like super like bluegrass country sounds. And so it's always banjo, dobro, um, sometimes it's mandolin. But normally it's those two, and then like steel guitars, just kind of like those really swampy country sounds. And so those are like the three that I normally go towards.
My Jesus, your awesome song, has resonated very deeply in all of our lives, and it came from a place of crisis in your history and your family. Will you share that story with us?
So, about 4 years ago, on June 7th, 2017, my older brother Jacob died in a car accident. He was 23 years old. He was my best friend, my biggest encourager, my everything in a person. He was like so happy all the time, was just a bundle of joy, and really loved the Lord with such a deep love and loved his family and just was one of those people that everyone loves. And so it was really tragic losing him. It was very hard as a family and hard to walk through that season of loss, because when you grow up with someone your whole life, normally you don't expect to lose your brother. And so when you grow up with someone and then they're gone, it's like, how do you deal with that pain? And not only the pain, but like you're missing someone in your life. And, we were a family of five and now we're a family of four. And so losing that one person that just brought so much joy was very hard. Um, and so during that process, I just really began to fall in love with the Lord. It was like worshiping God was like my medicine almost. It was like the only thing that brought me joy was worshiping the Lord. And so I just began to fall in love with him like I never had before. And one of the things that I started doing through that whole process was journaling. I just used it to kind of get my thoughts out on paper and to talk to the Lord and to ask him questions and to process everything that was going on in my life. And so, flash forward about 2.5 years later, when I started to write songs, I looked back into my journal and I was just kind of going back to see what God had been doing in my life, not really looking to expect or find anything. And that's when I saw that I never ever said Jesus, God, or Lord in my journals, like ever over those years. I only referred to him as my Jesus. And I just remember kind of having this moment of being like, wow, that's insane that I only refer to him as my Jesus. And I just had like this reminder from the Lord that it's like I have this confidence that God is my God and Jesus is my Jesus. Like I can be confident in knowing that I have a personal relationship with him. And um, and so we wrote the song. I wrote that song with a couple of good friends, and I just remember leaving the write that day, going into my car and like crying my eyes out for 30 minutes because it was such a just profound moment for me in my life of like the past 4 years of journaling come into this one moment of writing a song. And at the time, I didn't know that that would be my first single. And then whenever we decided that, that was like so mind blowing for me. And I was just so thankful to God that that ended up working out. But I love just being reminded by the fact that we can have a personal relationship with the Lord, because I think that it's easy to get lost in the idea that God is a big God, which He is a big God. And that's, to me, that's amazing. But He's also personal God. And so there's a comfort in knowing that He wants to have a relationship with us individually. And so, yeah, I love reminding people of that. And I love reminding people of that message, that the same Jesus that I call my Jesus can be your Jesus too.
Let me tell you about my Jesus. Oh, He makes a way where there ain't no way. Rises up.
We're Zooming with Ann Wilson this morning on Life Songs, and we're talking about the new song, My Jesus. It's great. We're getting to know you as a new artist. I noticed you've got deer antlers on your wall back there. Did you shoot that, or did you find that at like a antique store somewhere in Nashville?
So, okay, so I found that at an antique store, but there's one over here.
Aha! Poser.
I know. There's one over here that you can't see. And the one over here, my brother actually killed the deer, and then he like left it at my granddad's farm in the creek. And so all the fur and all the things fell off of it. And then we like stuffed it with this really cool greenery stuff. So I've never actually personally shot a deer before, but my brother used to all the time. So
I could never. My kids love Bambi too much. It would just not go over well.
So sweet.
All right. So not many people know this. They're going to, because it's like the first thing in your bio now. You used to want to be an astronaut, and then you switched to making music. Is that dream still on the back burner? I mean, becoming an astronaut seems to be becoming more and more available to people.
Yeah. I think that when all of the things that happened with Jacob and losing my brother, it was really like a moment where God kind of replaced my desires. And so He took that one out and replaced it with worshiping Him. But I will have to say, I still love everything to do with it. I still study the stars at nighttime. I still, follow all the things, watch all the videos, all the things. But I was just talking to a friend the other day about the fact that apparently, like, they just approved people to go to space. And so, like, people like us that aren't astronauts are going to be eventually able to pay and go to space. And so I do believe that, like, by the time, like, in my lifetime, I will be able to go as just like a person, like, and pay, a ticket or whatever. But that would be a dream come true for me. And I would love more than anything to still go to space. But yeah, I just feel like God is just so clear on what He wants me to do right now. And so I'm just kind of in this season where I'm like, God, like, you do what you want with my life. I'm just your vessel. And, but yeah, that is a dream still in my heart, to still go to space and to see it all.
I think as a culture, America tends to over romanticize the idea of chasing a dream, because as you pointed out, submitting to what God has for you is so much more rewarding than just pursuing a selfish dream. But for people who are pursuing what God has planned for them, how would you encourage them on that journey?
Yeah, I would just encourage them to listen to God and follow His lead. I was reading in Ecclesiastes this morning, and it talks about just how life is a vapor and how life just flashes by and you can't grab it and you can't hold on to it. And so the only thing that matters in this lifetime is spreading the news, about Jesus and sharing the gospel and doing His will for our lives. And so I think just being in touch with the Lord and opening the Word of God every day and worshiping Him and praying to Him and listening to Him and what He's saying to you. Because there were times, and there still are times today, that I'll be in a season where I'm not sure where God wants me to go. And even though He calls me to music, I'm like, Lord, what do you want me to do? Like, what's the next step? And so I just have to make sure I'm being mindful of the fact that I'm still talking to the Lord and communicating with Him. And also, I think sometimes we expect God to be loud and yell things. And I do think that there are times that God does that. But I also think that we have to be still and sometimes just listen to His still small voice. And that's when we hear Him the most. And so sometimes I find myself in the busyness of life just being able to be like, okay, I have to sit down, I have to turn off my phone, I have to get away, and I have to just be still and listen to what the Lord is telling me to do. And like 99% of the time, God always gives me an answer in those moments. And then I know what to go to next. And so I would just encourage people to just remember that God is in control. And if you can just allow Him to lead your life and trust Him with that, it's going to be such a beautiful journey.
So much wisdom in that. Well said. Where is your still spot? Like, where do you go? Where do you get away to be with God?
Yeah, so I love nature. I deeply love nature. I love being outside in the sun, but my granddad owns a farm in Kentucky. And so it's kind of a family farm for our family. And that is my happy place. My brother is buried there at the farm. And I grew up going to it, grew up, hunting with my brother and shooting guns and all that kind of stuff and just farm life. And so that's kind of a place that I go if I just need to recharge and just focus on the Lord.
Well, Anne, thank you for taking time to talk with us this morning. Thank you for your song, My Jesus. And we can't wait to see what else comes out of you following God's call in your life. It's exciting to meet someone who has got just a renewed sense of joy in pursuing what God's got for her.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you, Josh.